this will happen in a seamless manner. I think that would be my very clear objective of what we want to achieve with this meeting. So in that context, therefore, senators, my desire would have been, I know that the governor have been told by the clerk that the governor is on his way, he would be here anytime from now, but my desire would have been that the governor would have been here to lay out the plans that is yours, and perhaps give us a status update on the engagement framework, for which then we would allow the chairs to help us buttress in terms of that presentation. But now that is not here yet, I don't know what honorable senators you will advise should be the entry behavior into this conversation. So I'll let members perhaps give me that, but I want to recognize that the Senator of Nairobi has just entered, and I want to give him a chance to put himself on record and also to formally feel free to engage in these conversations, because this is your county, Senator.
Thank you, Chairman. My name is Edwin Sifuna, Senator of Nairobi, today appearing as a friend of the committee. Chair, and all the residents associations represented here, good afternoon. This conversation is not beginning today. These residents associations have appeared before this committee previously. The way that I would propose that we proceed is a brief from the Secretariat on the previous conversations that have led us to this particular day. And because we are a house of record, all of those conversations are on record. And then we get an update of some of the resolutions that had already been made by this committee from the county governor. And it would be easier for the leadership of the Residents Association if they are given like that broad brief on the journey that we have walked. Some has been here, Gashago from Woodley for many times. I can see the leadership of Jericho, they are here as well. So it would be nice for us to get that, some just brief update from the Secretariat of how far we had progressed this conversation. Because as we speak, there are estates where the governor had given certain undertakings. Then we can set aside those conversations for when he's here, but also you can hear from the associations themselves on what is happening on the ground. I thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you, Senator, and welcome to the meeting again. Members?
So, thank you, Chair. Picking from where Senator Sifuna has left, perhaps the beginning point would be to ask ourselves how many estates are represented here, and how many are not. Then again, Chair, as we begin the session today, can we kindly all of us agree that at least today we will conclude on certain things, so that these meetings are not meetings that will happen every time. At least today let us bank on some things, you know. We bank on, if we say we are going to finalize on 5 or whatever number of estates, we bank that and move on to other things. So we have a free time for ourselves to do other things, Chair. I thank you.
Thank you, Senator Wambua. I think I agree with you. So I would request that as the Secretary will give us an update, help me identify the critical areas that you really deeply care about, that you want us to conclude, so that as we go through the meeting, we make sure that we cover that ground. Senator Chute?
Chair, I support a statement from Senator Sifuna and Senator Wambua. They are both very important. Thank you.
Very well. Then let me then allow the Secretariat, first of all, through the clerk, to enlighten us. I know I've taken notes, and I've had names from various estates, which looks to me like 4 estates, but I don't want to, but actually, because Sam just got in, I was sitting there, I didn't see him, welcome Sam. So with Woodley, in my view, there will be about 5, but I would want Secretariat to confirm, because you are signing in through the Secretariat. So confirm to us a number of estates that have showed up already, and then go ahead and give us a status brief as has been advised by Senator Sifuna. Then we can take it from there.
Thank you, Chair. So far we have representatives from 5 estates. That's Lumumba, Ofafa Jericho, Maringo, New Pumwani, and Woodley. Those are the 5 that we have right now.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Senator.
The list again, please.
Lumumba Estate, Ofafa Jericho, Maringo, New Pumwani, and Woodley Estate.
Very well. Go ahead to a status update.
Members, in your file, there is a committee paper. Just
Were the others invited?
we only have contacts for those ones that we invited.
What is that?
Chair, that is not possible because we have provided contacts for all the residents associations involved in this regeneration project. And if the clerk remembers correctly, those invitations have been sent to all these people before. And Chair, I want to just say that if there was any challenge reaching any one of these people, I should have been notified so that I provide you the contacts because we have the contacts.
Senator Ambua?
Chair, you need to guide on that because initially I thought we were supposed to have 13. But only 13. So I see only 4. There's Maringo, there are 5. So Chair, what that means is going back to what Chair, when you're here, I'll wait for you to.
Go ahead, Senator.
Yeah, so Chair, I was saying, now going back to what I was saying is that the expectation is that at least we should be able to complete on certain issues. So where does that leave us when we have 8 estates that are not represented? If the issues are cross-cutting, what do we do? You need to guide us.
Senator Chute?
Question number 1 should be, were they invited? If yes, then we'll not take blame for that one. If they were not invited, what are we going to do now to also invite them in our next meeting maybe?
Just a moment. Senators, I've just consulted with the clerk, and apparently, when this meeting was held in June 2023, it is again the same estate that we are seeing here that had come. So, in their wisdom or lack of wisdom thereof, the right invited the estate that came to that meeting at that time. But I want to guide that I had requested that we have all the 13 estates. So, clerk, that's a serious omission that I would still want you to make sure that you get in contact. And there's a lot of opportunities, even through Senator Sifuna's office, to be able to actually get contracts of all these other estates. They must all be involved. I don't want a situation whereby, as a committee, we only dealt with a few estates and then issues emerge in other estates. So I think we will proceed with the estates that are presented here, but rule that you must communicate to the other estates, and if possible, have a follow-up meeting with them as well, and be able to actually also put together the cross-cutting issues in lieu of engaging the others. I would wish to discuss this idea that there are some more estates that are more equal than others. That's not the Kenya we live in. However big or strong or economically important estate is, all of them are equal before this committee, and all of them must be considered. Because I think that these are now a value judgment from my side. I think that there's a possibility that perhaps you are thinking that these are the major estates. That idea of major estate does not apply in this committee. All the estates that are facing the generation of the renewal program must be considered. So clerk, take note and make sure they are communicated to, and they are aware of what is going on in this committee and these conversations. So because esteemed ladies and gentlemen in the House have already come from the other estates, it will be fair that we also listen to them. So we will proceed with the ones that are here, but we must communicate and engage those that are not here, and possibly organize for another meeting to engage with them as well. That will be the fairness, as I think, honorable senators. So with that, then we proceed to the status report.
Thank you, Chair. In our files, we have a committee paper right after the agenda.
And I will request the estate's leadership to listen attentively to this report, because I think a good conversation will start with, is there anything that has changed from this report? Because this was some of the audio that came from the members of this estate, and then we can take it forward from there, so that we don't belabor what has been presented here and then focus on what might have changed or what wasn't achieved from this report. So go ahead.
We go to page 2, where the Standing Committee on Housing and Transportation was informed that the County Government of Nairobi was implementing a program on urban regeneration and renewal of the estates in Nairobi. And the committee was further informed that the chairpersons of Residents Association had requested a meeting with the committee, so that to apprise the committee on the concerns of the residents of these targeted estates. So the committee met with the Residents Association chairpersons, and the meeting was informed that the following about this was what the committee was informed about those particular estates. One, that Ofafa Jericho, Lumumba, California, and Ofafa Maringo were among the 13 estates in Eastlands that had been earmarked for redevelopment by the County Government of Nairobi. That Ofafa Jericho, Lumumba, and Ofafa Maringo estates were projects that had been undertaken by the Israeli government in agreement with the Kenyan government, and that the residents of New Pumwani, California estate had written a petition to the County Government of Nairobi requesting that the ownership of the houses be converted from a social housing unit to tenant purchase scheme for payment of mortgage for the houses, but the petition had not been responded to. The committee requested for response from the Governor of Nairobi, and this is what the committee requested for: a copy of the agreement between the Israeli government and the government of Kenya for reconstruction of the estates through the tenant purchase scheme, a copy of volume 1, 2, and 3 of the report on the urban renewal plan for Eastlands, Nairobi, a copy of development control guidelines for Eastlands, and the status of response of the county government to a petition by residents of the New Pumwani estate for conversion of social housing units to a tenant purchase scheme, the status of the current ownership of the houses in the estates, a copy of title deeds for the parcels of land on which the estates were built, and the original plans for the development of the estates, an explanation unto the circumstance under which the contractor was given an approval for the development of New Pumwani estate and then demolished flat C5 on 20th of May at night, and a statement of rent collected by the county government of Nairobi since 1985 for Ofafa Jericho Estate, for Jericho Lumumba and Ofafa Maringo Estate. The committee invited the governor to a meeting, and moving on to number 11. The committee invited the governor to appear on a meeting on 27th, and he appeared, and this is how he responded. One, that the 13 estates had been earmarked for the urban renewal program, and these estates belonged to the Nairobi County government, and the current occupants were tenants of the county government and not purchasers or owners, and that the county government of Nairobi did not have any copy of an agreement between the Kenya and the Israeli government for the construction of Jericho Estate through tenant purchase scheme, that the title deeds for these estates were not currently available as the process of obtaining them was underway with the Ministry of Lands, that the Urban Renewal Program initiative sought to meet the increasing demand of housing in the city, and that the county government had made a cabinet resolution to allocate one house to each current tenant as a compensation for the rent that they had paid over the years. Consequently, the tenants will enter into memorandum of understanding with the county government on the same, and that the program is a project for upgrading these estates that were already in deplorable state to provide decent housing and social facilities to the residents and the greater population of Nairobi. That these projects will retain the heritage history of the estates, which was of sentimental value to the tenants who were born and raised in these estates, and that the renewal contracts for renewal of these estates had been entered into, and the projects were set to begin. The committee further wrote to the county government of Nairobi in asking them to respond to issues raised, and these are the issues that the committee sought to find out. One was the tender documents for construction of these estates, and a copy of minutes and resolutions for public participation meeting for all the estates that had been regenerated, copies for the joint venture agreements for contracts for the estates and the county that the county government had entered into with developers, and the details of the nature of tenancy agreement between the tenants and the county, and as well any agreements between the county government and the tenants of the estates for relocation and reallocation of the developed units, which the county government had earlier said that they were getting into an agreement with to allocate these tenants each a unit. So at the meeting which the governor appeared on 18th of March 2025, the committee resolved to hold a joint meeting with the representatives of the estates for these estates and the governor in order to resolve the issue. I submit.
Members?
Chair, if you allow me, there is at number 14 a brief on the responses that had been received. I think this is pursuant to the request from 11th March 2024 and the meeting of 18th March 2025. Perhaps you can also take us through the responses that were received. I believe this is the responses to the 5 issues in paragraph 12, right? I think that brief is in the file.
Yes, yes.
So for the benefit of everyone, you can just go through what was supplied by the county government.
By the county government. Clerk, but you help members also to where I think it's also in the folders. You can help point members to those particular responses, even as the clerk is going to peruse and go through the same.
Thank you, Chair. One was on the physical copies of Volume 1, 2, and 3 of the Urban Renewal Plan for the Eastlands Nairobi estates. So the plans were submitted to the committee. The second item was the original plans for the development of the estates. So the original development plans are in possession of the Ministry of Lands, Public Works and Housing, and the county government of Nairobi had written to the cabinet secretary for facilitation of copies of the development plan for onward forwarding to the Senate. The second item was if a copy of the response to a petition by the residents of New Pumwani Estate for conversion of social units to a tenant purchase scheme. The county government did not respond on that. The county government also committed to conduct a site visit to the New Pumwani Estate and understand the technicalities involved. So the last time the governor was here, confirmed that the meeting has not happened, has not taken place. In regards to a copy of response to a petition by the residents of the New Pumwani, California Estate for conversion of social housing to tenant purchase scheme, reference is made to the prayers of the petition that the existing tenants in the New Pumwani Social California to be converted for rental to purchase tenant purchase scheme and any other way that the county government could protect the rental tenants' rights under the social housing. To this effect, the county government of Nairobi conducted a meeting with the petitioners of the New Pumwani Estate on 22nd of May 2024. The resolution of the meeting was that the estate had not yet been earmarked for redevelopment, and so it was not possible to engage on the matter or convert the units for tenancy to tenant purchase scheme. The committee observes that the minutes of this consultative meeting were not signed to ascertain if the resolutions made were legally binding. Number 4.
Chair, on that one,
Go ahead, Senator.
so when you say the county government met with some petitioners, who are these petitioners?
Of the New Pumwani, California Estate.
Chair, perhaps I can guide Senator Wambua.
Yes.
There was a petition that had come from the residents, the tenants, current tenants of New Pumwani. This is not one of the estates that we are discussing, the 13 for redevelopment. And that is why the conversation that was had between the residents and the county government, you can see the committee is noting that there were minutes of that meeting, but that they were not signed. So that's a pending issue, but that one was a different estate from the ones that we are engaging with urban regeneration. So I think you can just move to number 4, which is a statement of the rent collected by the county government for Ofafa Jericho, for Ofafa Lumumba, and for Ofafa Maringo Estate, which is on page 3 there.
Very well. Clerk.
In regards to the rent collected by the county government of Nairobi since 1985 for the Ofafa Jericho, Ofafa Lumumba, and Ofafa Maringo, the governor submitted that the data of rent payment for the 3 estates was an estimation of the amount that the Nairobi County Council may have collected through manual payment up to 2010, where a new system was inaugurated. So he further emphasized that the rent is mostly around 80%.
I want you to also be reading committee observations, because that is the point of, that's the next step of our engagement with the leadership here. Because that's where I want to confirm. For instance, when a minute were not signed, The governor could have said they were signed or not, but now we have got the leadership here who can be able to confirm whether the meeting took place, what were the agreements. So please do read the committee observations.
So the committee observed that the requested rent status for Ofafa Maringo for the year 1990 was not provided, and further noted that the automated rent collected had two systems, that is the Life Forms and Nairobi Pay, which were running concurrently between 2021 and 2022. The fifth item was a copy of the County Executive Committee resolution to allocate one house to each current tenant as a compensation of the rent they have paid over years. In reference to this resolution, through the extract of the minutes of a meeting conducted on 24th and 25th of January 2024, the governor submitted that the housing units for the existing tenants would be ring-fenced and made available for the tenants on completion of the housing project. He clarified that the tenants were only expected to deal with the expenses and maintenance cost. However, the committee notes that there were no legally binding agreement between the county government and the tenants on that allocation of a house per tenant. Number 6 was a copy of minutes taken during public participation in each of the 13 estates. The governor provided a comprehensive report of 2 public participation meetings, with the first being held on 12th of February 2021, covering 10 estates, which was Ziwani, Lumumba, Ofafa Jericho, Woodley, Bondeni, Bahati, Kariobangi North, Embakasi, and Maringo, while the second meeting was conducted on 25th of May 2023 for 13 estates, which is Ziwani, Lumumba, Ofafa Jericho, Woodley, Bondeni, Bahati, Kariobangi North, and Embakasi, Maringo, Huruma, Kariobangi South, and Buruburu. So the committee observed that the original development plan earmarked 18 government-owned estates for redevelopment, which included Kaloleni, Makongeni, Motela, Ladis, Shaurimoyo, Bahati, Maringo, Lumumba, Jericho, Jerusalem, Uhuru, Gorofani, Bondeni, Majengo, Ziwani, Kariako, Starehe, and New Pumwani. The committee notes that public participation meetings were only conducted for 7 government-owned estates and the other 2 private estates, which is Woodley and Buruburu, as per the initial development plan. Number 7 was a copy of the contracts that the Nairobi City County Government entered into for the redevelopment of the 13 estates. According to the public notice dated 3rd of January 2024, an invitation for expression of interest was advertised in the print media on 8th of January 2021 for requests for proposal to interested and qualified developers to carry out the phase 2 projects comprising of initial 10 county rental estates. These estates are Woodley, Ziwani, Bahati, Maringo, Jericho, Lumumba, Bondeni, Pumwani, Embakasi, and Kariobangi North, divided into 12 lots in February 2023. Another public notice was placed in the local daily on 13th of May 2023, comprising of 13 estates, which added to the 10, and the 3 new estates was Huruma, Kariobangi North, Buruburu. So the governor submitted that only 7 potential developers for the development of 6 estates, which is Bahati, Maringo, Jericho 2, Ziwani, Kariobangi North, and Woodley Estate, showed interest to undertake the development. However, out of the 7 developers, only for Kariobangi North and Woodley Estate Lot 1 contracts had been fully executed. So the committee observes that only 2 estates under implementation were not listed at the initial development plan. Number 8, the acreage of land for each of the 13 estates, as indicated.
Just before you go to number 8, Clerk, there is an important note there at number 12 that I think it is important for the people here to hear. Paragraph 12 on page 6.
On page 6.
Yeah.
No, 12.
So far, only 2 contracts have been signed by Nairobi County Government and 2 developers. That is MS UD Patel and Company Limited for the redevelopment of Kariobangi North Estate, and MS Africa Rate Limited for redevelopment of Woodley Estate Lot 1.
I hope that the leadership of the estate have taken note of that. Proceed to number 8.
Chair, number 8 was the acreage of land for each of the 13 estates. The governor provided details on the portions of land for the 13 estates as indicated. The committee observed that the development plan had earmarked 64.9 hectares of land for the 13 estates. And the governor has indicated that the acreage was 54.07 hectares.
No. That's the wrong column.
The governor has indicated 150.
It's 150.
The governor has indicated 150, yeah?
Yeah.
54 is the units, clerk.
So 60.
150 hectares.
Yes. It's actually more than what the development plan had. So take note on that, senators. I think that would be of your interest as the governor comes in. Number 9.
Number 9 was the details of number of percentage of units to be owned by the county government of Nairobi in the joint venture agreement in each of the estates to be developed. So it's attached in the matrix. Number 10 was a copy of the draft memorandum of understanding that the county government intends to sign. So the governor submitted the copy of the memorandum as requested.
Yeah, I think the others are annexed, so I don't want to belabor those for the process of proceeding on with the meeting. Senators, I observe that this is a PRS document, so I want to ask our team from the PRS if there is any variation since this document was generated. In the best of your ability, that can be able to inform senators to execute on this matter properly. If there isn't, then I'll go back to senators. PRS, do you have any variations? Because this document was prepared by you. On any of the presentation that has been made by the clerk.
Thank you, Chair. No, it is as per it was already prepared in the brief.
Chair, I wanted to also inquire, because yes, you know, I don't know if the committee also prepares like publicly available brief, because this is for the benefit of the senators. I suspect that the leadership of the estates don't have this document. So it would have been nice and proper to prepare something that has all this, because she had gotten to number 9, and I thought that it was also important for her to take them through number 11. I'm sure you are getting notes. Yeah? So number 11, there was a requirement for a schedule of developments for each estate indicating the expected commencement dates and anticipated timeline for their completion and proposed project implementation. That is information that would be critical and important for the engagement with the leadership of the estates. So because it is the last paragraph, and in fact, there's only one more paragraph, Honorable Chair, I request that she just takes that one for the benefit of the attendees. And then, if it is possible, we need them to have a brief for just like the one for us, Senate, for them to also carry home.
I think you can go ahead and read the next, but Senator, I wanted to perhaps advise that for the purposes of processing, because we have to process all these documentations and there are volumes and volumes of them, certainly the documents of the Senate are usually available to the public, but after proper processing, which would mean processing them to the level that they're put in the House and tabled for the for the public to consume. But for the purpose of this conversation, I think it's important that we meticulously have the clerks read them out as much as possible. That's why I requested before that the representative actually be able to pay attention to all this, because it's very critical for them. May you go ahead to read what the...
Sure. That's okay.
Yes.
You also guide on that. But you see, I think what Senator Sifuna is trying to say is, these people here, they understand these issues much better than all of us. So he presented them with
Welcome,
documents. Chair, I'm on the floor. So you present them with this document and just remove the sections that are directed at senators, they would engage us very fruitfully. Yeah.
Yeah, I think as directed, that would be good, senators. I will request the clerks to see what they can be able to decipher at the moment and be able to provide the members from the various estates, so they can be working to help them engage in the meeting. So that is in order. I'll clerk, you can figure out how to do that. Can you read that, and then I will be able to come to govern.
And the last issue was a schedule of developments for each estate, indicating the expected commencement dates and anticipated timeline for their completion and proposed project implementation. So the governor had submitted that due to the ongoing negotiations with existing tenants and dates for site possession, the project commencement and completion have not been conclusively decided to enable the development of works program. The implementation of the first 7 sites within the 6 estates, namely Bahati, Maringo, Jericho, Ziwani, Kariobangi North, and Woodley, is broken down into 3 main phases, which is the pre-construction, construction, and the post-construction activities. So as attached is how the projects were advertised and are currently undergoing the procurement process for redevelopment.
I think let's go ahead to number 19 and 20 so that we can be able to conclude on the entire document. Isn't it, Senator Sifuna? So that for the benefit of the representatives. So just go ahead and read 19 and 20.
19 was on how the projects were advertised by the county government. So as attached, that's how they have been advertised and are currently undergoing the procurement process before initiation of the redevelopment process. The last one was a copy of the revised restriction of building in Isli. So the governor shared the revised restriction of building in Isli, noting that the legislation process was underway as the Nairobi City County Assembly.
Okay, very well. Perhaps if I take it back to the senators, at long last, the governor has arrived. Governor, we have already started the meeting, and I want to just request and recognize that you have arrived, and if possible, you go on record as well as introduce your team, and then we'll take it from there.
Thank you, Chair. I don't know why it's at long last. I was scheduled for 2 p.m. That is the communication we had, and we discussed actually 20 minutes earlier. So it's not at long last. But Chair, thank you very much. My name is Sakaja. I'm the governor of Nairobi County. Thank you, senators, and the residents. It's a very good opportunity for us to discuss. These are people who I know quite well, and the estates and the history of that, and we'll get into that. We're pleased to come here to have this discussion.